Okay, so I haven't done a video today because the only thing up till now that I'd wanted to talk about was the end of the world and shit. I don't want to talk about that. So I'm just gonna make this a video to my buddy Blazer talking about my plan. Or like this crazy fucking plan. Like let's just say fuck it. That's what this plan is. We say fuck it. We sell everything that won't fit in your vehicle or my vehicle, and maybe even sell your vehicle and get you a better rig for what we're gonna do. But I finish out rigging my van. It's pretty well good for probably the next 5 years, aside from a couple minor repairs that it's going to need. That I know it's going to need. So like, as far as a vehicle goes, I think that I got a pretty good one that didn't cost anything. And that's kind of what I'd like to find for him. Once we have those, we take all the rest of the fucking money we have and pool it as a fund to get us up to Alaska and support us living in fucking vans until we can figure out what we're gonna do for money. And I know that sounds like really vague, but there's plenty of places in Alaska where they just need people, especially people willing to work. And like some of the things they need done, are like oil field worker. That like Blazer, you can just have fun at that. But there's a whole bunch of other shit that people wouldn't think of that like you can make money at, especially like swinging a hammer and shit and like handyman jobs and shit for people. And everything up there gets you more money. You can charge more money for everything that you do. So like as someone with real skills, you and I could make a substantial amount of money probably just swinging hammers there with a fucking sign on it saying that we do fucking carpentry work. And I know you probably don't know how to do carpentry. You'll figure it out. It's not hard. I grew up with an advantage. My great grandfather was a pattern maker. Basically a really skilled woodworker that makes a wooden thing that is the thing that makes a mold for a thing. And he taught my grandfather, and some of that rubbed off on me. I'm a good enough carpenter that when I do work, people are surprised that I can do it that well. And, with a little bit of polish, I could probably make money. And I kind of figure same thing for Blazer. Like, he's handy capable, he's smart, and he has me to show him shit. And like half of the thing is like, hey, do it this way and not this way because over time, this holds up better and shit. Like it's various things of like little carpentry tricks and whatever. You don't even remember until they come up when they come up. When it comes to fixing things, that's a whole nother science. Sorry. But if we have fucking vans to live out of for a minute, and we went up there probably in April, we would be cold for a little bit, but then we'd have the whole summer to figure out where we're going to live while we camp in Alaska in fucking minivans or whatever. And my point in this is, once we have that, we save up some money and we buy a little chunk of land somewhere that's like 2 acres that we can park our fucking vans on and build a fucking shop and cabin. Or shop and 2 cabins, probably. And once you have that, I don't know how I would rig that to just leave it. But I would want to save up as much money as fucking possible while we, build our 2 little cabins and shop and do whatever it takes to get fucking money. Which could include fucking whoring and running a card game if we needed to. Like, I'm handy capable and multi-skilled. Blazer has other skills that he could bring to bear as well. Shit.
No female warriors.
Fucking YouTube. I was watching a thing on ancient warfare. But anyway, the point of this would be to save up a bunch of money there because we can make it. Live as poor as fucking possible. And have a ranch spread kind of thing on a couple acres there as like a backup plan. Like if, hey, we ever need to go do that again, we have a place. And hell, like, I don't know. That would be the thing too, is that you could sell that, but I wouldn't want to sell it. So, but that's a potential too, is that, you know, if you do build 2 cabins and a shop and like maybe some sort of big communal building, you could sell that property when you're done. And like, this is the whole homesteading thing that I keep pitching Blazer on, is hell, let's go homestead a couple acres and build a cabin on it while we live in vans and sell that shit. And we could do that a hell of a lot up in Alaska. There's a whole lot of people that, you know, they're rich and they would like to own an off-grid cabin, but they're never going to build one. There's that market, you know. Anyway, I'm getting distracted again. The point of gathering money is either you can come back to the U.S. and hang out and whatever, but that's not what I want to do. What I want to do, and what I'm going to encourage Blazer to do, is I'm going to fucking, you know, nail up the fucking shop or whatever and send all the rest of my shit back to my fucking mom's house or whatever. Store it somewhere safe with a friend maybe in Alaska. Figure that out, you know. I'd have my shit squared away to never come home, basically. And I'd get on a boat for fucking Thailand or Vietnam, Southeast Asia somewhere. And, you know, that's where I would start. And my goal would be to like go on safari and go look at Legends of the Fall. I want to do that in the 21st century. I don't know how exactly you would get away with that. I'm guessing that killing some of the more endangered species that he was after probably ain't going to happen. But there's shit that you can legally kill for very little money in most countries. Figure out what that shit is and let's go hunt that shit. Once you're done in fucking, you know, Vietnam, Southeast Asia, Indonesia, you could go Australia or Africa or India. And basically the entire time that I was on safari, I'd be putting together boxes of shit and mailing it home. Like, this is treasure. Whether it's fucking trophies of animals or whatever, or fucking just shit you buy along the way or whatever. I'd have a sea bag. And once the fucking, like, sea bag was full, I'd fucking get a big-ass cardboard box to put it in. Get another sea bag. Something like that. It wouldn't take that much money to do this. The other thing that would make this really fucking handy and easy is, okay, let's say we do save up a bunch of money. We buy a fucking sailboat. Sailboat with a diesel engine and 2 cabins. And, like, I would buy it somewhere near where you'd want to be at first. Because I think the idea of just getting the boat and then sailing across the Pacific, probably not a great idea. But my pitch to him was, let's go be Pirates of the Caribbean. Like, you could totally do that shit too. You know? Go get the fucking boat and get some, like, snorkeling equipment. And some fucking, like, life jackets and a couple other things, maybe. You could even get scuba certified. And, like, go do a guide service thing down there on your fucking boat that you live on. Go be Captain Ron. Like, there's all sorts of options that we could do that are way more fucking fun than sitting here. And all of the stuff that I'm talking about is out of the path of the fucking nukes for the most part, except maybe Alaska. Depends on where you're at in Alaska. That could get real spicy. But that wouldn't be like a long-term thing. I really think that you and I would have a shit ton of fun doing carpentry work and handyman shit in Alaska. And like, the thing is, we would need an apartment at the end of the first summer, probably. There's no way we'd have everything squirreled away by then, and I can't spend a winter in a car in Alaska. Neither can you. So we'd have to have, a good enough thing going after the first few months to fucking keep at it. But that shouldn't be that hard. Like, if we get there in April, we'd have until September, basically. September, October, maybe. October, it starts getting real cold. Like, April, we're going to freeze our butts off. But it's one of those that it'll be getting warmer every day. Also, I'm going to add that it seems like with global warming, quote unquote, Alaska's going to be more habitable. Russia's going to be more habitable. There's going to be more shit going on there for sure. I don't know. I think this is a really good plan, at least for you and I to make money. We don't even really have to do the homestead thing, but like, I think we'd be silly not to fucking buy a couple acres of land and build a cabin on it while we're up there and then sell that shit at least. We could even do that a couple times. I also think, honestly, just buying a couple acres of land somewhere on the edge of town and building a shop, and maybe that's all you use it for. Maybe even that. But like, I would really like to have the shop with like, 2 cabins in opposite directions, like each 100 yards away from the shop in opposite directions, and then like we have some sort of communal building that's not the shop attached to the shop, like a hangout room kind of thing. And like, you have your place, I have my place, plenty of area to park and do whatever. Probably can't even see the shop through the woods if we do it right. Be like you live in your lone little thing. And then like, we build our shop as a knife making shop, basically, because like, what we need to be able to do, in my opinion, is anything and everything people might ask for. And the way I would build it is basically I'd build a carpentry shop, and I'd bring along all the knife making tools I have left, and maybe even buy a couple of replacements. And half of the reason for that is some things you're like, oh, how am I going to do X? And having that fucking bandsaw or grinder or drill press, it gives you new answers to odd problems that you run into. Let's put it that way. I view the blacksmith shop in the woods as the ultimate survival kit, basically. What is a survival kit really but a set of tools to keep you alive? And the blacksmith shop in the woods is literally a giant toolbox that you're meant to live and work in. It's a thing that keeps your tools dry. Anyway, I think that the whole Legends of the Fall safari around the world thing would be fucking dope too. And like, if you did that right and went to fucking poor ass fucking third world countries or had a sailboat, like, you could do that cheap as fuck. You just have to be, willing to die, basically, on a lot of it. And maybe we could pick, like, the less spicy ones to go to. Like, Vietnam, believe it or not, is a tourist destination now. That's what they have made it. And I don't have warrants in Vietnam. Although, like, I don't know. I would really want to be careful about going anywhere that might be friendly to the Chinese Communist Party. They don't like me. The only place in the Caribbean we can't go is Cuba. We can totally go there, but like, if we go there, we have to go with guns. That's, yeah, welcome to Cuba. I ain't getting arrested in fucking Cuba. If it's between some fucking Cuban cops and me, there's gonna be some dead fucking Cuban cops. Fuck Castro and fuck that entire country, basically. It's like a place 90 miles off the coast of Florida where you can commit any fucking crime you want. Isn't that great? But as a result, I don't think I'd go to Cuba. Puerto Rico, we could hang out in for quite a while, really. There's a lot of, like, the U.S. Virgin Islands, too. These are places where, like, we could get jobs as, like, bartenders on the beach. And, like, yeah, that would kind of suck. But, like, you go to work for, probably a couple of days a week and work your ass off and then live on a beach out of a van. Like, yeah, I don't know. Could be pretty cool. At least for a while. And, like, these are all things that, like, I don't want to live that way for forever. But what I would like to encourage Blazer to get on the train with is, like, let's go be hobos out of minivans around the world. And pirates. Like, eventually, like, that would be a real goal, is to get a fucking boat. I don't know what kind of boat we would get. And, like, this was the pitch with Matt and the boys or whatever. Let's get a shrimping boat. Because, like, think about it. A shrimping boat is a boat that you could catch anything with. But shrimp is good, A. And B, like, the Gulf Coast seems like a good place to do that. Not to mention the rest of the Caribbean, I'm sure, has shrimp. We could just drive our shrimping boat around the Caribbean, flying a pirate flag. That might actually be illegal. I don't know. I don't really care. There's also a point where, like, I would like to go do some shit in international waters that is decidedly illegal. Like, wouldn't it be cool to fucking, I say that. I mentioned extraditing Sam Bankman-Fried. Imagine if you extradited him to the bottom of the ocean and filmed it for YouTube. And there's not a thing anyone can do about it because you're in international waters and you're a pirate. I don't know 100% that someone wouldn't come for you if you did that, but, like, God, that would be good, wouldn't it? Yo ho, heave ho. And just toss him off the fucking boat with an anchor on his feet. Consign him to the briny deep. Africa could take up a considerable portion of our time. There's several places in Africa that I think are still friendly-ish. I miss South Africa, man. Make Zimbabwe Rhodesia again. Like, that's some of where, like, we'd have to watch where we go in Africa, too, because, like, I can't shut up about some of that shit, so maybe we shouldn't go to Zimbabwe. We could go to Ghana. We could go to Liberia. The name of it, the one that we started. Fucking North Africa would be interesting, but most of it's kind of a shithole right now. I'd go to Morocco. Maybe even go to Algeria. So there's a whole lot of, like, craziness going on once you get past Algeria. That whole, like, Tunisia bullshit and Libya and Egypt. Like, all of that fucking shit can probably go get fucked. Like, it's a good place to go die. At least ever since the color revolutions that happened there. It would be cool to go to Morocco. That should be on our list. I don't think there's anything to hunt there, but we could see the Sahara Desert there. And Believe it or not, it's one of the places that like is pretty cool with Westerners that's Muslim held, and it's been that way for forever. It's, there's more expats there than there are fucking Moroccans, I believe. It's always kind of been that way. It's the North African fucking Monte Carlo. It might be interesting to go to Saudi Arabia, but if I went to Saudi Arabia, I think I'd have to wear a burqa now. Either that or, like, just not give a fuck and carry a gun. There's always that option. Show up on our own sailboat. Trying to think of other cool places I'd want to go. The Falklands. We should go to the Falklands. There's probably some other cool places in South America we could see other than that. While we're down, like, seeing the Falklands and Australia and South Africa and shit like that, like, it would be tempting to head south and see the fucking ice sheet. I don't know. Maybe that's crazy. Guess it depends on what kind of boat you get. Anyway, Blazer, like, all of this shit is well within the realm of shit that you and I could do. Especially just getting ourselves to Alaska with tools. And or selling everything we own down to like a couple of fucking bags a piece and going to Puerto Rico. Or one of the fucking U.S. Virgin Islands or one of maybe the British Virgin Islands and get a job with one of the resorts or some shit for a while. It's one of those things like working there and living poor as shit for a while would set us up to fucking do pretty much anything we wanted for a minute. Not forever, but for a minute, and then you could go do it again. Or figure out something else. Like, I don't know. It's one of those, I think you have to pick one or the other. They're both somewhat decent plans. The Caribbean thing, there's troubles with that in weather. There's troubles with that in, bad economy, maybe. There's troubles with that in a lot of things. Whereas, like, I think Alaska, the only worry is you get nuked. I like the Alaska plan. Like, I trust in the fact that people will always need boards hammered together. I don't trust in the fact that they'll always need fucking mixed drinks and whatever else that we'd be doing in fucking anywhere in fucking the Caribbean. To be honest, I could probably go live in Jamaica for free. I could explain that to you, but that's just a solid bet. I don't know what it is with black guys. Black guys that like to smoke weed love me. I think it's one of those, like, opposites attract or some shit. But as a result of that shit, there's several countries that we could probably go hang out in way easier than you would imagine. You just have to know the right people and make the right friends. Being my good graces while I'm like the fucking piece of ass for the local gangster. We could have all sorts of adventures. I still like the idea of mailing home fucking pirate loot in sea bags. I think we should 100% do that. One of those, like, we should bring money to buy shit with, and we should, like, almost never spend money and just hoard a bag of shit. Like, we should get all of the stuff that's, like, cool and cheap in all of these foreign countries. Because, like, guess what's not in America? all of that shit. Oh, this is some handmade doodad from some dude in some village for $10. It's made of brass. Oh, and it's like a fucking bowl that weighs 10 pounds. Okay, well, maybe we should get that. That kind of thing. Like, there's a lot of shit like that in the third world where people are making stuff out of garbage that people would pay the moon for in America. This is what we should go looking for. And, between the two of us, I'm kind of a weirdo artsy person, and Blazer is, not. So, if we both like it, then we spend money on it. Also, like, half of my thing with the stuff that I'd want to get to send back that was art, it would be like things made of fucking wood or metal that took a lot of time and was local made and shit. And it was like, this is stuff that's worth money. And like, it's one of those, like, I would buy the stuff that looks good. But there's lots of like touristy places that like sell junk. And then there's touristy places that sell real deal handmade shit. And being able to sort out between the two and load sea bags full of it and ship it home, I think could make us a lot of money. And this is where like you'd have to avoid the touristy places and go off the beaten trail a little bit. Go find the junk shop in Argentina that hasn't been hit by anybody in 100 years, Argentina would be cool, maybe. I don't know. South America's weird. There's lots of places I'd go before I went to South America. And if I went to South America, I think I'd want to see the Nazca lines, which are in Peru, I believe. We could also just go see pyramids and shit. Like, again, Egypt is spicy. I don't know that I'd go there right now with everything that's going on. But the pyramids might be worth it if we were in the area already. But there's lots of, like, the rest of the pyramids around the world that aren't in the Middle East that it would be cool to go see. Tibet and Nepal would be really cool too, but like, I don't think that shit's gonna happen. Especially with, I think it's Tibet is like owned by China. Nepal might be too, so. Well, what do you think of my road trip plans for Blazer? Does this sound like fun to you? Like, right now, Kossoff is like, fuck it, yeah, I'm selling everything, and we're just gonna do this. It's like, I don't know anyone else who'd be that into this, but, the whole Legends of the Fall safari around the world after some sort of way of making money in a way that is dope. That, like, it's one of those things, like, we're both young and free, don't have any kids, don't have any responsibilities, really. We could just go do this shit. We owe it to the people that can't go do this shit to go do this shit. That's the way I see it. Not to mention the fact that we need to make money. And the best way to make money is going to foreign countries, just in my opinion. There's lots of different ways. But there's a whole bunch of shit in foreign countries where people will pay you money because you speak English. Like, yeah, I need someone here to make sure X gets done. Can you make sure X gets done and speak English and take a paycheck? Well, then good. You have a job. Really low energy. I guess it depends on where you go. Being a bartender at some fucking beachside resort probably is a little bit more effort than that, but it also would be fun as fuck. And again, that's one of those, you wouldn't do that for forever. I wonder what kind of jobs we could get on cruise ships. Although I bet with our talk of piracy, they probably wouldn't hire us now. Cruise ships are a good way to make some money. Anyway, I'm kind of done talking about this, and I'm trying to finish this off, and I'm failing at it. So tell me what you guys think. See you later.